Welcome back to the Raiders Coaches Show presented by Iowa State Bank. I'm your host, Noah Godso, joined with head men's wrestling coach Rick Dahl. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing wonderful. It's a good day.
Well, Coach, you have a very, very long season, multiple tournaments, lots of matches. Wrestling's such a physical sport. I mean, it's kind of in the name. But what are some of the biggest ways your team has grown over this long season?
Well, man, when I think about how we've grown, I think about how we grow through adversity. We've had a lot of adversity, injuries, ups and downs as far as like being consistent. I mean, consistent with our wrestling and being inconsistent and trying to grow from that. But I think it's been really fun to see this group of guys kind of rally around each other. We've had some weird stuff kind of occur, and the way the guys young men have come to stand alongside each other and encourage one another. I mean, that's been really powerful for me. We certainly haven't experienced the wins and loss or wins like we would have liked, but they're becoming better men. I think that's half the battle.
And with some big conference duels coming around the corner, what are some adjustments that you may be looking at that you're going to be hammering home to give you guys the edge?
Yeah, oh man. Big conference duels. We got probably two of the best teams in our conference we're going to see in a 3-hour span next weekend. But I think some of the things that we just need to address is really try to focus on the things we can control. It's easy to look at records or look at rankings and be overwhelmed by that. Trying to get our guys to realize, man, they're able to compete. They're able to compete in every position, and getting them to believe that. We're always hammering into their heads. You can control your attitude, your effort, and what you focus on. So, trying to get them to do that and believe that that's probably what we'll be doing here the next week and a half. That and trying to get healthy.
Being healthy is good, but coming up towards the end of February, Northwestern is going to be hosting the GPAC Championships for the first time since 2019. Yep. What does that really mean for the school and for your team as well?
Well, man, it puts us on that's a big event for us. It's a big event for our conference. During that day, there's only going to be 8 tournaments going on. So it's going to be a chance for us to put our best foot forward. I think it's always important that we do a good job, and we do a great job making people feel welcome, running a world-class event. I appreciate all the hands that come in to make that possible. But it's big for our guys to have another home event, a big tournament like that, to wrestle on a big stage. Certainly, it's an advantage because we're comfortable in our own venue. We get to sleep in our own beds. All those types of things, those obstacles that come with traveling, we don't have to deal with that. So we're excited to see what happens on those 2 days.
Yeah, it's a big 2-day event. Mm-hmm. I know not everyone's going to know how that setup's going to work. You said there's going to be 8 tournaments going on at once. Can you just break down what that's like for someone who may not fully understand how that runs?
So to get to the national tournament, you have to do so through a conference tournament. So there's 8 conferences that the NAI recognizes. And because our conference is a little bigger, we choose to do it in a 2-day setting so that we don't run into a maximum match limit. Guys can only wrestle 6 matches in a day. So there's a world where they might have to wrestle more to qualify. So we'll wrestle half the tournament on Friday night. We'll go up into the semifinals, and then we'll wrestle the rest of the tournament 3 or 4 rounds on Saturday morning. And
then to qualify for the national tournament, what does it take? I know there's a team aspect, there's an individual aspect. Yeah. I'll get a little bit more into that after the break, but.
Well, our qualification system is based on allocations, so it weighs heavily on your ranking. Okay. So the best way I can explain it is like at 133, we have 5 guys in our conference that are ranked in the top 25. So for our qualifier, the top 5 guys qualify to the national tournament. So that's what I would tell you, how that works.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this commercial break here on the Raider Coaches Show, presented by Iowa State Bank.
There's nothing like small-town Iowa. There's something about the people, the community, the values. That's why we call Northwest Iowa home. We're here for our community. We're here to build a better tomorrow. We continue to provide personalized service and innovative products to help achieve your financial goals and dreams. At Iowa State Bank, we're your neighbor, your friend, your trusted bank.
Iowa State Bank, we're ready for you.
Welcome back to the Raider Coaches Show presented by Iowa State Bank. I'm Noah Godson, joined by head men's wrestling coach Rick Dahl. Coach, we were just talking about the conference tournament and qualifying for the nationals and all of that, but wrestling is unique where a team can qualify for the national tournament, an individual can qualify for a national tournament. You don't see that, especially in the bigger sports that are highlighted all over the world. But can you just break down how that changes your mindset as a coach when it comes to wanting the team to win, obviously, but also if you have an individual that's standing out?
I think sometimes the team aspect is pretty. I mean, that's something we want. I mean, that's something we desire, and I try not to be focused so much on that because I feel like that kind of affects my ego. Mm-hmm. So I guess what we try to do, and we try to focus on the individual aspect. I mean, there's definitely a team aspect, and we get that in duels a lot more than in a tournament setting. But within the duels, I mean, that is, we keep track of team wins and losses and that kind of stuff. But as far as the tournament goes, I want each individual to wrestle the best that they can, right? So in that venue, in that arena, I want them to focus on what their job is, right? And their job is to compete hard in those 7 minutes. The team stuff's going to take care of itself. You probably get that aspect in any team sport. Do your job, do it well. Honor Christ with the gifts that and opportunities He's given us, and the team thing will take care of itself. So, my desire on those 2 days when we get to the national or to the qualifiers for each of those individuals to wrestle the way that they want to wrestle, the way that they know that they can wrestle. So, part of my job as a coach is to get them to believe that, and to get them to believe that they can do that on that particular day.
And one of your wrestlers who's really been standing out, Noah Parmalee, this year, ranked in the top 10 nationally. He's reached multiple milestones in this season as well. I mean, what have you really liked from him? Where have you seen him grow this season, but also in his entire career here as a Raider?
We saw when we recruited Noah, we weren't necessarily sure what we were going to get. He was a tenacious young man. He believed, he has this unwavering belief in himself, even when many didn't believe. I mean, he just believes that he can do it, and he loves to work hard. He is certainly the catalyst for our team when he's not in the lineup, which he hasn't been often in the last couple of years. When he's not there, there's certainly an energy drop. But that dude he's just a dog. He believes in himself. He wants to work. He's not afraid to get tired. He does, he's the standard of what we're trying to get the other 9 guys to believe that they can do. And so, he's always had that. I think he's always had that. I think as far as growth goes, the growth that I've seen in Noah has been so much away from the mat, just who he's become as a young man, his faith, his belief in himself, his belief in just his perspective. I think probably as a freshman, how he did on the mat was his identity. And I think he's really embraced this idea that wrestling's something he does. It's not who he is. That doesn't take away from his intensity on the mat, but it's certainly, it doesn't define who he is. And, he's a guy who's, become a husband. He's become a father here in the last couple of days.
Dad strength.
Dad strength. He's tapping into that old man strength that he's getting. But no, I think just he's a quiet leader. He's not a hoorah vocal guy. He's never been. But when Noah gets up to start moving around in practice, that's usually a signal to everyone else that they better get their butts moving. So.
I don't want to make it only about Noah here too.
No.
So what are some other guys that you've seen really make an impact on and or off the mat as well?
You know, I could probably talk about every one of my guys. Johnny Burnett, he's a junior for us. He's kind of developed here in the last year. We've kind of abandoned the idea of cutting weight for him, so he's kind of wrestling more of his natural weight, and we see a lot more energy in him, and he's just been a lot more consistent. We've been real impressed with Joel Arias. At 97, here's a young kid who's got a lot of ability. When he starts believing in himself a little bit more, he's going to do some great things. He's super athletic. He's got a really high ceiling. And he's been, we see like greatness, and then he's a freshman, and we see some of that freshman kind of, the inconsistencies. But so when he starts kind of embracing the, habits and consistency and stacking that kind of stuff, he's gonna really take off. We've been real impressed with Cade Braun. Cade's had a good season thus far. Ethan Skogland's had especially the last couple weeks, has really we've seen him kind of take off. I would say for most of our guys, I've been real impressed with the way that even in adversity, they've made the choice to show up the next day. They've made the choice to work through it. They've made the choice to push harder, and I think we're primed to do something pretty special here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, let's see what happens here. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll break down what's coming up for your wrestling team here on the Northwestern Raiders Coaches Show, presented by Iowa State Bank.
Looking for that perfect home? There's more to it than finding that perfect house in the perfect neighborhood. It's also important to find a personal banking experience that makes you feel right at home. At Iowa State Bank, we get that. That's why we're here to personally service your loans and make that dream home become a reality. We're your neighbor, your friend, your trusted bank.
Iowa State Bank, we're ready for you.
Welcome back to the Raiders Coaches Show, presented by Iowa State Bank. I'm your host, Noah Godsoe, joined by head men's wrestling coach Rick Dahl. Coach, we hinted at it before, some big duels coming up. What's the scouting report for that? What are you really looking at for these next 4 that you have?
So Waldorf's always a fun one. It's our senior night, so we'll recognize our 5 seniors: Noah Parmalee, Brody Hoverston, Cade Braun, Julian Palma, and our fifth one.
I don't know.
Oh, Slogan. He's starting off. He starts off our lineup. Logan Schrader, who we call Slogan because he's the small Logan on the team. But so we'll recognize those 5 guys, and try to highlight kind of their career and the value that they have on our program. And each one of those guys is super special to who we are. They've been super impactful. Logan has been just a mainstay at 125 and 33. He's always available for us. That guy is durable. Noah, we've already talked about him. Brody is just like an old man on the team. He's like the dad figure and the encourager. Julian's our video guy, so he's kind of anything you see on social media. We're thankful for him. And Cade adds a little spice to everything that he's a part of. He's got kind of a swagger to him that is most of the time fun to watch. So we're excited to recognize those guys on Wednesday, and then we had our last 3 duels for the year, and we wrestle, like I mentioned before, Doane and Concordia, who are probably the 2 best teams in our conference right now. They're pretty loaded, and we're just going to focus on one match at a time. Each guy do their job. Each guy try to, wrestle the way that they know that they can and should. We'll try to be aggressive. Those guys they're experienced. They have a lot of just their wrestling IQ is really high. So we just have to stay disciplined in our position and be willing to fight. So we'll do that. And Midland's a lot better than they have been. I think we beat them like 50-0 last year, and but they're a different team this year. So we'll see what happens. But we'll just try to honor Christ.
And over the years, you've gained a lot of experience as a coach, and you've been at Northwestern for a very long time as well. What are the areas that you've seen the most growth in yourself and things that you've learned after all this experience?
Oh man, when I think about 18 years of being here at Northwestern and 29 years of coaching overall, my first thought is, man, I think I'd be a little bit better, but it's humbling to think about the lessons that I've learned. But I think probably the thing that's really that I've really appreciated, especially in the last couple of years, is appreciating the process. We want results, and results, they're going to come, but understanding that who I become in the process of seeking out those results. That's the important thing. That's the thing that honors God. That's the thing that builds relationships. When I think about the relationships that I have with alumni, it's we don't get together and talk about specific matches or wins. We talk about the things that happened. We talk about how they grew. We talk about where they're at now, and I feel like I've really grown to appreciate those things a lot more. I still love to compete. I still hate to lose. I was not happy after Briarcliff or Morningside. But how I respond, I know matters to those guys. So I'm really, really mindful of the relationships I'm trying to build with them, and who they become as men is probably much more important to me than if they make the podium.
And from the short time knowing you, one thing that I've noticed is your ability to just build relationships is just incredible, and it's something that I've really grown to admire. But how do you take this talent and apply it to coaching and building relationships with your athletes and even around campus and the community as well?
Well, part of coaching is getting a guy who comes in, or an athlete to come in, getting them to trust you, right? That they come in with all these dreams and aspirations, and my job is to figure out what those are and to try to get them to where they need to be. The problem is they don't necessarily know. They're naive. They don't know what needs to happen. So part of that, I don't know if gift is the right word, but part of that skill is building a relationship with them so that they trust that you know where they need to go and that you're going to get them there. And you're going to get them there, even when they may suck one day. I don't know. They may have a bad day, but you're still that you still believe in them. And so part of my job is to, even if they wrestle poorly, that they know that I believe in them, that they can get through this. And so I think that's a huge part of relationship building, is to develop trust. And I don't know if I have a gift for that per se, but I certainly have a desire to do it and to do it well. So,
well, I'd sure call it a gift. But final thing to wrap it up, just a fun little thing.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite memory from the season so far?
Oh man, my favorite memory. And I'm probably, this is probably a little egocentric, but Noah's married to my daughter, and so seeing my daughter come to practice and seeing his eyes light up when she walked in the room, especially when she was like 9+ months pregnant, that's been fun. It brought me back to when I started my family as an athlete. So that's been kind of fun. One thing that I will say, a highlight outside of that. We had a kid that we really tried to recruit out of high school, Reed Holsoff, and I got a text from him over Christmas. I've been missing wrestling, missing the competition, missing the grind, and I'd like to try it out. So we over Christmas break, were able to work with Reed Holsoff, who was playing football, and he's been a big bright spot for us. He brings a lot of energy. It's always nice to get that energy in January. We got a fresh body in there that is pretty optimistic. But he's a great dude. Yesterday he didn't practice as hard as he wanted, and he apologized for it. I'm really sorry. I mean, I ate something bad, and I'm like, dude, I wasn't even thinking about it. I just thought your body was worn down. But he's a good kid. He's had a couple of huge wins for us. in the month of January. And we're real excited for him. Glad to have him aboard. And I think stuff like that, when you get new guys in the room and they embrace the culture and they embrace the team and they, I think that's always kind of fun to see.
Well, thank you, Coach, and thank you all for tuning in to the Raider Coaches Show, presented by Iowa State Bank. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Can I get a Go Raiders, Coach?
Go Raiders, Coach.
In 2 weeks.